And I just want to play you a little clip about how the BBC covers trans issues.
Now, transgender woman's milk is just as good for babies as breast milk. That's according to a letter from the medical director at University Hospital Sussex NHS Foundation Trust. The claim was made as part of a response against campaign groups. The trust referred to studies and the World Health Organization guidance, including one case which found what it called no observable effects in babies fed by induced lactation.
Well, there you go, Douglas. I don't know, maybe you can take a cocktail of drugs and start lactating and feeding a child, and it'll just be just as good as mother's milk. I mean, really, the institutional bias is not just how they present a story and how they frame it, but also it's often with the guest selection and the story selection itself.
Yes, I mean, in that case, I'm not going to take you up on your offer of that cocktail, if you don't mind, Rita. I prefer a straight-up martini myself. But no, that's an absolutely classic one, isn't it? How could whatever the secretion is that comes out of somebody who's trying to change the pretense of biological sex, how could whatever cocktail it is that comes out that will be pumped full of the hormones that the person in question is taking, how could that possibly be as good as mother's milk? This is the sort of thing which the BBC will push as part of the trans extremist agenda. And they don't have to. You know, they could have taken a completely reasonable view all the whole way along, like some of us did, which is things like, you know, let's look into this a bit more, because it seems to be, you know, that there's an awful lot to look into here, and let's not make up facts. But they want to, because they want to push a particular agenda. And as I say, it's all in one direction repeatedly. It's never the gender woo-woo critical thing it falls into the direction of. You know, it's all this kind of, you know, and I'm amazed that she didn't end up saying or claiming that actually trans lady estrogen testosterone milk is actually best, and we should all gulp it down all day long, otherwise we're bigots. I mean, it's so preposterous, and you can see through it. And this should have had a big halt to it a long time ago. And but just one other thing on that, Rita, you mentioned the guests. Absolutely the case. As anyone can see, the last time I was on the BBC, I was invited on Newsnight, and the presenter did what he always does with anyone who's not a card-carrying socialist, and he basically treats anyone of our views as a convict awaiting sentence. They treat you like you're a monster criminal in the dock, and they've already decided you're guilty. And then meantime, they'll get some radical left-wing lawyer, you know, who represents, you know, the most disgraceful and disgusting people in society, and they'll present them as, you know, like human rights champion and all that sort of thing. It's really transparent, and it's really despicable for a broadcaster that pretends to have impartiality.
Now, before you go, Remembrance Day was yesterday, and this clip of a 100-year-old World War II veteran, Alec Penstone, on Good Morning Britain went viral in recent days. Have a quick look.
What does Remembrance Sunday mean for you? What is your message?
My message is, I can see in my mind's eye those rows and rows of white stones of all the hundreds of my friends and everybody else that gave their lives for what? The country of today. No, I'm sorry. The sacrifice wasn't worth the result that it is now.
That's just so terribly sad, Douglas, that someone who sacrificed so much for Britain is so dismayed by what it has become.
It was heartbreaking, Rita, seeing that. I don't know exactly, of course, what he was referring to, but I think we can all make some guesses. It's heartbreaking that he would.
He was talking also about a little bit about the lack of freedom in Britain. He mentioned freedom, and I thought that was interesting, that he's noting what is happening in modern Britain.
Well, absolutely. I mean, unfortunately, the British people now live in a country, as you and I have discussed before, where the police will not bother to come and investigate a home robbery, but they turn up at thousands of households every year, arresting people, putting people in handcuffs, charging people for things they've said on Twitter that go against the perceived narrative, the acceptable narrative, the BBC narrative, and much more. And you know, I don't think that that does mean that the sacrifices of our forebears were in vain. But my goodness, it's sad to see that interview, and my goodness, it's sad to see what Britain has become in recent years. And just look at the fall off. Just look at the fall off in political leadership from the people who led Great Britain in the 1940s, from all parties, by the way. Consider an Attlee or a Churchill against what we have today. And yes, it's a very sad fall off. I'm deeply saddened when I saw that interview. But I hope that people watching it who have the same response we have are reminded by it that actually we have a great inheritance we need to sustain and not to just continue wrecking.
Douglas Murray, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.